What's going on, everybody? It's me, TheT-SaneOtaku here, and we're here for, as you can tell by the title, a King Kittan deck profile. So what you can also tell by the deck profile is that this is what we refer to as the bulk build. This entire deck was made in response to my friend Christian. We were trying to go and help him get into the game, and he wants a new deck. And half the reason why some of these cards are going to be unsleeved, as you see, are because of the fact that the cards that are in sleeves are for a deck that I'm going to be doing as well this night. And then all these videos you will be seeing come up in a succession within the next 3 weeks or so. I have a lot of videos for you guys. We'll see what you guys like. So let's get right into it. First off, we have level zeros. We run 3 of the King Kittan. As you've seen by almost every deck profile or deck tech that I have, we are 1 King Kittan short, and at this point, I'm getting lazy. We have to find it. Nick has one in his deck.
What?
We'll use it at some point. The King Kittan, level 0.
Oh, yeah.
We're 1 short, and it's actually bugging me. But so we'll get this solved soon enough. But you run him in the deck because it works with your boy King Kittan here, or level 3. And it also works with the Climax combo. There also is a level 3 I have in here, which is the cross counter, which works with the other level 3 in the deck. And so the entire thing that I'm trying to make with this deck is that with the cards that you see here, everything you should be able to amass from, like, let's say you have that one guy at a card shop and he has a ton of bulk. This entire deck is you buy 1 or 2 trial decks and his bulk makes this deck. So that's the entire purpose. There is some power choices that are weaker than if you wanted a really good deck, but we're making this deck for those people that want to get into the game and they want a really, really just cheap deck. So there's a card that works with this card, but it is a bulk option, but I'm not sure if it's better or not. I think that the backup might be better at this point. More playtesting to tell. But we got 3 of him. We run 4 of the Suicider Drill Power Logon. We run him because this card is a single rare, and I have a ton of it still left over. Another good thing about it is that it helps your level 0 game because it pumps up some other Team Daiguren characters, and it's a Suicider. Overall, really good card. And if you're trying to get new at the game, this is a good thing to get familiar with. This is from the trial deck. 3 copies of the Runner Yoko. Not much to say. Like Attack on Titan, a lot of runners in that deck. So in this deck, wanted to incorporate some cards that had this runner trait. And they're here just to mostly absorb some damage in the early game, because your level 1 game is pretty mediocre. You kind of want to just live on the 0 as long as you can. So it's just going to eat up some damage. And again, to get used to the game, gotta get used to runners. We run 4 of the... This is the trial deck Brainstormer, correct? Yes, it is the trial deck Brainstormer. Of course, you would want to run a different Brainstormer in the end. I just prefer this one because, like I said before, this is a budget build. And if this is from the trial deck, this is from the trial deck, our next card is from the trial deck, most of your level 0s are from the trial deck. These are just pump-up options. So you can always find out how to make the deck better from there. So his main purpose is to make your level 1 game better, because we run level 1s with Bro in the name or Kamina. So we do a little bit better. He can pump up, because at the beginning of the climax phase, if you have a Kamina unit, you can pump up one of your other units by 1,000. His Brainstorm is actually pretty good, because if you're trying to pull off the Kittan Climax, you can mill 4, get 2 Climaxes in it, so you draw 2, and in the 2 cards you draw, you might be able to get a Climax, which can lead to a Climax combo, because every other Brainstormer in the game that I am aware of, I'm probably not so intellectual, but from what I'm aware of, you can't grab Climaxes to your hand, so this has some use. And to finish off level 0s, we run 4 copies of the Trial Deck Logon. Main reason that we run 4 copies of this is because half of our level 2 game revolves around us combining it with Gurren. So, of course, you would need this card, and we don't run that many fetch tools because Simone the Digger is not a fetch tool, it is a draw tool. So, you're going to have to just hard draw into these, which makes it really difficult to work through, but it helps you learn in the game how you have to manage resources and how you have to know when, if this gets into your hand, how you have to keep it, or if you're on level 0, you might want to play it and buff, and end result, it's going to get you better at playing the game. And like I'm pretty sure all of you can tell, like, this level 0 game seems a little bit on the like mediocre side, but overall, it's actually not that weak in comparison to others. I have an Idol Master deck which has a level 0, and it's almost like weaker than this, and that deck was supposed to be super good back in the day. So overall, budget, like, this thing's actually does work. I think that Nick, how many times have I won with this deck?
How many times have I played against it?
I don't know, a couple.
I think I'm gonna give you a hot 51 percentile.
Sweet. So, like, out of the,
It's like a coin flip.
okay, yeah. So 50% win rate, ain't bad. So on level 1s, we don't run too many, and all the ones in level 1 here are not in my main deck because I run different ones. But we run 2 of these these are cost 0 Suiciders. These are really cool because there's a lot of 1-0s in other decks that are just really big. They're 7,000 power, and this thing just suicides right into them. And it works really well in the deck. I mean, I want to run more of it, but there's not too much room. So I found that 2 was not that bad of a number. The main reason why he's not played in other decks, like the deck that I have the rest of these sleeves for, is because the other deck is a level 0 rush deck that's performing a little bit better than this. Anyway, on to the next card. We run 2 of the Yoko backups. These are really good. Anytime Bushiroad gives us a level 1 0 stock backup for 15, that is super good. So, and it's from the trial deck. So, I mean, like, this is a single rare, and I know not many people want to run this card, and it's not very expensive. So, people will hold this card. This card is from the trial deck, so you can pick it up from your trial deck. And then we have 3 of these. So, this is our main bro of the deck, if you will. And he is just a vanilla 7,000 beater. If you have the Simone the Digger here. If you have any of these on the board, he's a 7,000. So if he dies for some odd reason, he's back down to a 4,000. But overall, having an 8,000 beater because you have bro in the name, because he's 7,000 base, the Simone makes him 8,000. 8,000 is huge on level 1 and usually can run over a lot of small stuff. This is our main beat stick in the deck, and it's what makes this level 1 game pretty above average. I'd say we don't run many level 1s because our level 2s are basically here to mitigate a lot of the foulty of our level 1 game here. But there's a couple cards you can change and stuff. This is a deck tech for a reason. So, I found that this level 1 spread, if you will, worked out just fine. On the level 2s, we run 3 copies of Gurren. The main fusion is the reason why this deck actually usually wins, because fusion is so strong, especially when you hit level 2 first. So, not much to be said about this card. A lot of people already know what it does. If you don't know what it does, I'll be having some playtesting videos out later talking about this card in a different deck. But overall, you take this card and you take the level 0 Gurren, and you just slap them together and you play a level 3, and then on placement you do some stuff. So this card's really strong. It's got some potential. Next up, I run 2 of this and 3 of this. So this is our second play-by-play. I don't know. Like this is our second climax combo, if you will, in the deck. So these cards, both of their abilities say when the climax to save the promised children, for the sake of the promised children, for the sake of the precious children. Blech. When that is placed in the climax area, you throw this card into your stock, and you play this card from your waiting area. Basically, I'm running it to say that I've run 5 of this. I just didn't want to run this card as a 4 of. So, the entire reason why we run this card in the deck is because it gives not only herself, but everything in the front row the ability that it has a on-can. It basically gives everyone the burn climax effect, which is overall pretty strong, especially when you're sitting there with Gurrens on the field, Gurren Lagans or King Kittans. So she works really well in tandem with them. And then she also helps out if you're bricking really hard and you have a level 0 field. You can use her to make sure that you can push out damage to get your opponent to like that end of level 2. So that when you do recover, you can get back and push for game. This card is really, really, really easy to find. Everyone that I've talked to when we went to regionals, I'm pretty sure everyone has this card in their bulk somewhere, especially these as well. So getting your hands on these should be really easy and really simple, especially when they're both commons, right? This is an uncommon, my bad. These are commons, these are uncommons. Everyone's got them. And then we go on to level 3s. So as you saw earlier, we got King Kittan. And we're spicy boys, so we got 2 of the SR. I'm sure you guys won't find 2 of the SR. This is the only double rare in the entire deck. And the reason why I'm showing it off like this is because, one, I love King Kittan. Kittan is like one of the best characters in the game. And, not the game, the show.
The game.
It's a game. Anyway, he is here just as our, like, he's kind of our finisher in the deck. It's what he's trying to be. And he works with the level 0 of the deck. And his ability says, on placement, you look at the top 2, ditch 1. Yeah. You look at the top 2, 1 to hand, and then choose a card from your hand, put it into the waiting area. And then his climax combo is you play the level 0 when your opponent cancels damage. So that's why we run the Yoko, because when your opponent cancels damage, not only do you get a new attacker, but they also take 1 additional point of damage, which is huge. And then if they don't cancel out of it, damage stuck. So this card really actually has quite a lot of potential if you make the deck revolve around it, which is like every Weiss deck. But a lot of people find that this card is weaker than other cards, which they are correct. And so, even though this is a double rare, it's one of the cheapest double rares in the set, and getting your hands on it won't be that difficult. Like, I have 2 SRs here. I have these 2 double rares. I have, I think, 2 more double rares of it. I have plenty to go around, and just getting your hands on it isn't that difficult. I think that if you go to any regionals or any tournament or any, let's say you have locals, if you're lucky enough to have one of those, getting these is probably pretty simple. So, and also it's a Kittan deck. Like, you gotta run Kittan in a Kittan deck. And then we run 2 cross counter and 3 of the combined Gurren Lagann. This guy's here as our, cheese out at level 2. This is what gives the deck a lot of gas. These are the cards I was talking about earlier, where you can switch them with Giga Drill Break. I prefer cross counter in the deck because usually you want to head off into this guy. You use King Kittan if you're ahead. If you're ahead on everything, hand, stock, like field, everything. You go Kittan can easily win you games. If you're not though, and you're even or even losing, you go for Gurren Lagann. And that means that you're gonna want to use cross counters because having a event backup that can deal 4 damage during your opponent's turn is really big. So I think that these are stronger in my opinion. If you want, you could try out the Giga Drill breaks. They do the same thing, and they also work with King Kittan's the level 0. It doesn't work with this King Kittan. I don't think. Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Because
the level 0.
Well, it worked with King Kittan, and this is.
No, but that's Kittan. It's not King Kittan.
It's actually Yobozo's Kittan.
Yeah, I know.
So
it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. So.
It's like Yu-Gi-Oh! And their stupid capital letters.
Very true. Very true. So. For climaxes, we run, of course, 3 of the climax for our boy Kittan. We run 3 of the Yoko climax, and then we actually run 2 of the trial deck double soul climax. The reason for this is if all else fails and you are so dirt in the ground, a two soul climax can always be thrown on with some like cheapy level 0s, and you just go face. And face is the place, man. So, there's not much to say. Like, this deck is a smork deck, and you just hope. There's a lot of hope. So, I probably sound really tired. Hope you all enjoyed this one. There's going to be another deck profile with the other deck that I have here pretty soon, and I hope y'all will have a nice day, and I see you on the next one. See ya.